What if Georgia's newest weapon and Florida's newest quarterback are carrying two completely opposite forces into the same rivalry? One grew up surrounded by Georgia football. His family cheered for the Bulldogs. When Athens finally called, he crossed enemy lines because Georgia represented everything he had been searching for. The other grew up just miles from the University of Georgia, played for Georgia Tech, transferred to Florida, and publicly admitted that he hates the Bulldogs a lot. Isiah Canion is now wearing red and black. Aaron Philo is now Florida's starting quarterback. This is bigger than two transfers. It is a collision between belonging and bitterness, between a player who chose Georgia's standard and a quarterback who appears determined to destroy it. But behind Philo's declaration lies a brutal reality that Florida fans may not want to confront. Georgia owns the recent history of this rivalry, and the numbers suggest that hatred alone will not be enough to reverse it. Stay with us, because you are about to discover why Canion may become the physical weapon Georgia's offense has been missing, and why Florida may have handed Kirby Smart the perfect message to place inside the Bulldogs' locker room. So did the Gators find their next hero, or did they just give Georgia another enemy to punish?
Isiah Canion did not arrive in Athens like a mercenary searching for the highest bidder. His journey feels more personal than that. He came from Georgia Tech, an in-state rival, but his connection with the Bulldogs existed long before the transfer portal opened. Canion grew up in Warner Robins, deep inside a state where Georgia football is more than entertainment. It is identity. It is inheritance. It is something families pass down. According to Dog Nation, Canion explained that everybody from Georgia watches Georgia football. He grew up watching the Bulldogs, and members of his family were already Georgia fans. When Georgia contacted him, excitement came naturally. That statement matters. Canion was not simply transferring to another program. He was moving towards something that had followed him since childhood. Athens was not foreign territory. In a strange way, it may have represented unfinished business. Georgia had not prioritized him coming out of high school. He went to Georgia Tech, developed, faced the Bulldogs, and proved that he could compete at the Power 4 level. Then, Kirby Smart came back for him. There is something coldly calculated about that sequence. Georgia allowed another program to develop the player, watched him mature from across the state, and then brought him into Athens when the Bulldogs needed exactly what he had become: a tall, physical outside receiver capable of stretching the field and winning contested battles. Canion said Georgia checked every box: coaching, competition, and player development. Kirby Smart praised his toughness, physical blocking, speed, and quiet approach. Gunner Stockton went even further, telling Dog Nation that Canion looks special in pads and has already embraced Georgia's culture like someone who has been inside the program for years. That is precisely how dangerous teams reload. They do not chase names, they identify traits, cultural fit, and unfinished potential. Before we reveal what the numbers say, subscribe to Bulldog Nation News and leave a like. Your support allows us to keep producing deeper Georgia stories and exposing the threats forming around the Bulldogs. Canion crossed enemy lines to become part of this mission. Now help us continue building the strongest Georgia community possible. But did Kirby Smart merely add another receiver, or did he quietly steal a future nightmare from a rival?
Now we enter the evidence room, because this is where the story becomes darker for Florida. According to Dog Nation and ESPN, Canion caught 33 passes for 480 yards and 4 touchdowns during his final season at Georgia Tech, averaging approximately 14.5 yards per reception. At 6'4" and roughly 205 pounds, he gives Georgia a physical profile that does not currently exist elsewhere in the receiver room. Dawg Nation also reported testing numbers that help explain his ceiling: a 4.51-second 40-yard dash and a broad jump exceeding 10.5 feet. At Warner Robins High School, according to Georgia Tech Athletics, Canion recorded 90 receptions for 1,450 yards and 16 touchdowns during his senior season. He has already demonstrated production, body control, and vertical ability. Georgia is now betting that superior development, Gunner Stockton's experience, and stronger competition in practice can unlock the next version of him. There is also a revealing cultural advantage. Citing CBS Sports, Dawg Nation reported that 59% of Georgia's roster comes from inside the state, the highest share among SEC teams. Canion already knew Georgia defenders Rayshawn Dinkins and Isaiah Gibson from Warner Robins. He did not enter a collection of strangers. He entered a network built from Georgia soil. Now, compare that foundation with Florida's new quarterback. According to Reuters, Aaron Philo played in 8 games across 2 seasons at Georgia Tech, completing 57.8% of his passes for 938 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. He has legitimate talent, but only 1 collegiate start. According to Georgia Tech Athletics, Philo was spectacular in high school, finishing as Georgia's all-time leader with 13,922 passing yards and ranking 3rd in state history with 159 touchdown passes. The danger is real, but his college resume remains small. Most importantly, Philo never played against Georgia while at Georgia Tech. Meanwhile, Georgia Athletics lists the Bulldogs with a 58-44-2 advantage in the series against Florida. Georgia has won 8 of the last 10 meetings and enters the next confrontation riding a 5-game winning streak. During that streak, the Bulldogs have outscored Florida 177-87. Florida's official records also acknowledge a 2-8 mark in the last 10 matchups. In 2025, Florida survived Georgia 24-20, proving the Gators can make the rivalry uncomfortable. But Florida finished that season 4-8, while Georgia remained among the SEC's dominant powers. Philo may hate Georgia, but can a quarterback with 1 college start overcome a machine that has beaten Florida 5 consecutive times?
Hatred is powerful in college football. It can sharpen preparation, electrify a locker room, and turn an ordinary game into something personal. But hatred can also become a trap. Aaron Philo has already given Georgia something Kirby Smart understands better than almost any coach in America: emotional ammunition. Smart does not need to fabricate disrespect. He does not need to invent an enemy. Florida's starting quarterback has openly declared his feelings about the Bulldogs. Every Georgia defender now knows exactly what Philo wants to do. And when Georgia meets Florida in Atlanta, the stadium will feel less like neutral ground and more like an extension of Bulldog territory. The contrast could not be more dramatic. On one sideline, Philo will carry the resentment of a player raised near Athens who chose Georgia Tech and then Florida. He will operate an offense coordinated by Buster Faulkner, a former Georgia staff member who understands how Kirby's machine works. On the other sideline, Canion will carry the pride of a Georgia native whose family already loved the Bulldogs and who now has the opportunity to help them punish the rival that welcomed a quarterback defined by his hatred. One player wants to prove he belongs inside Georgia's empire. The other wants to become the man who damages it. That creates the kind of storyline college football was built for. A former Yellow Jacket catching passes for Georgia, while another former Yellow Jacket attempts to end the Bulldogs' reign from behind Florida's line. Philo's talent deserves respect. Faulkner's knowledge deserves attention. Florida nearly broke through in the previous meeting, and Georgia cannot enter this battle asleep. But Kirby Smart has spent years turning doubt, insults, and hostility into fuel. Florida may believe it found a quarterback with the emotional fire required for this rivalry. Georgia may see something else, a young starter walking toward a defense that now has a personal reason to make his first appearance against the Bulldogs unforgettable. So when Canion and Philo finally stand on opposite sides, will Georgia's newest weapon expose Florida's newest quarterback as another enemy who talked before experiencing the full weight of the Dogs? Tell us what you think in the comments. And if you want more dark, investigative Georgia storytelling, subscribe to Bulldog Nation News and leave a like. Every subscription and every like helps us produce more content, uncover more stories, and defend the Georgia Bulldogs against every new threat arising across the SEC. This is Bulldog Nation News, and in this rivalry, hatred does not frighten Georgia, it feeds the Dogs.